at heart, I was always a problem solver. And when you come across the retail distribution, so sales and distribution challenge of the consumer goods industry in Pakistan, that's a problem that really excited me, and it inspired me to build something that can, solve problems for a lot of organizations and for the country in general, rather than one particular organization.
The retail landscape is really broken, and the information flow, the supply chain was really broken. So we then, got excited about solving this particular problem over there and started off. And as you can see, there's a huge set of problems that still exist. So a lot of startups are yet to be born to solve these.
Clear path for the organization really would be to create a lot of value for our customers, which are retailers in the case of Jugnu. And how can we ensure a much more agile, robust supply chain when it comes to distribution of goods that can reach as many stores in Pakistan as fast as possible in the most price, effective manner.
We are looking for people who are super excited and passionate about creating new ideas and fearlessly executing them day in, day out. In Jugnu, failure is just one step closer to success. So be bold and be part of great Jugnu team.
Passion is number one. You got to have the energy, you got to have the zeal, you got to have the fire in the belly to go out and change the world. You've got to have integrity.
Sense of curiosity is a must. One more thing that I think is quite relevant to the culture over here is ability to work in teams. All of us here like to work in teams rather than working individually. For me, it would really be about the team and the culture here.
Getting like-minded people together, getting them to work on something that's really exciting for them, getting people to be part of a journey where they're transforming the world. That's what we're proud of.
It's rare for me to not be able to jump out of my bed to come to work, and I think that's something which excites me and inspires me.
Assalamualaikum everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this next edition of Daftarkhwan's Fireside Chat. Wow, what an amazing video we just started off with. I'm super pumped. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Shoaib Zahid, and I'm a partner at Wall City Co. This session is something very special that we have today, brought jointly by Daftarkhwan, Wall City, and Jugnu, which we're going to talk about just in a little bit. But before I do that, really quickly, I'll just share a bit about Daftarkhwan. It's on a journey of the last 4 years. They've done an amazing job in the co-working industry of Pakistan. What they're doing for the community is they're providing space for entrepreneurs, professionals. They can work on their own terms. It's the most exciting business place, I think, cropping up in Pakistan. This community is now grown up to more than hundreds of people and 5 locations. And I think shortly going on to their, if I may disclose, onto their 6th location. It's a journey about empowering businesses, bringing them on board and letting them grow and scale. And I'm so thankful to Daftarkhwan for providing us this opportunity to host this talk today with a special group of people. Daftarkhwan is the leading co-working space, and once again, thank you guys. Thank you, Daftarkhwan, for arranging this session for us today. A little bit about myself and Wall City Co. Wall City Co is an investment syndicate, a few like-minded angel investors who decided to support the ecosystem, bring the necessary resources to the ecosystem. It's in the network, it's in the resources, it's in the capital. It's in opening doors wherever they can, and being a part of this journey is something that we're very proud of. You can follow Wall City at our social media links. It's Wall City Co on Twitter, and you can follow us on other social medias as well. Well, a little bit about Daftarkhwan Fireside Chats. What is Daftarkhwan trying to do with these chats is something brilliant. What they want to do is, bring out the learnings from some of the leading and brilliant professionals across all walks. be it from technology, be it from healthcare, be it from other businesses, other walks of lives. And what they do is they share their experiences with us. So it's a peer-to-peer learning platform where I'm going to be taking a lot of learnings today, and I'll try to share those learnings with you towards the second half of this call. You guys just saw a brilliant video where we started off today. It's a team which has been working very silently in stealth mode for a long time, and they're building what I believe is the next version of Pakistan's retail industry. They're called Jugnu, and I'm very proud today to introduce to you Yasir Memon and Sharoon Saleem. Hi, guys.
Assalamu alaikum, Shoaib. Thank you for having us.
Assalamu alaikum, Yasir. Assalamu alaikum, Sharoon. I'm so proud and I'm so glad that you're here today. And what I'm most thrilled about is what you're building, actually. And this vision that you've shared with us a few times over the last many years that I've known you. It's a pleasure to see that vision come to reality. Jugnu, guys, for our audience today, Jugnu is about empowering every small single business owner out there, and to help them grow through digitization. So what Yasir and Sharoon and their co-founders and the entire team at Jugnu are doing is building the next retail of Pakistan, building the next businesses of Pakistan. And I think this has been an amazing journey. And more than talking about Jugnu, which I know a lot of you joining us today for this call, what you wanted to hear about is Jugnu. But before we get into that, what I really wanted to talk about is what Yasir and Sharoon have brought together and their other co-founders. So this conversation is going to be about their journey. It's going to be about where they started off from, what they were trying to build, and where they are today. I'm going to try to get out of the way and bring Yasir to the mainstream, and Sharoon is going to be joining us shortly. And in the meanwhile, what you guys can do is really quickly log on to your web browsers or mobile browsers. And if you want, you can really quickly look up jugnu.pk. So it's jugnu.pk, and you can have all of their, you can get most of the information about the business. But like I keep saying, more than the business, the journey is more exciting. It's inspiring. I keep telling Yasir that his passion is contagious, and we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Yasir, how are you doing today, man?
All good. Thank you so much to Daftarkhwan and to Shoaib for having us. It's always a pleasure to be able to share our experiences and whatever we are up to.
Lovely, lovely. So guys, today we're going to be talking about Yasir and Sharoon. So Yasir, if you can really share with us some of the crux of, you're here today with us, sharing your story about Jugnu, but yani kahani shuru kahan se hui thi? I mean, what have you been doing over the last, I don't know, maybe 15 years of professional life? Kahan se shuru ki ye kahani, where it went about? You've been through a lot. So where you are today, we'll come to that towards the second half of the talk. And to the audience, I can just, if I may take a moment, Yasir, to our audience, if I can just ask you to keep sharing your questions and your comments in the chats wherever you are. If you're logging in from YouTube, if you're logging in from Facebook, this is going live on Daftarkhwan's Facebook, Daftarkhwan's YouTube, Walled City's Facebook, and Jugnu's social media handles as well. So if you can share your questions or comments, I'll keep prompting you and reminding you of your questions. You can share about those. And we'll be sharing some deepest, darkest secrets about Yasir and Sharoon along this conversation today. So hold on to that. And let me just say, do not leave this talk today. This is coming live from Daftarkhwan. We have a really secret package for you guys towards the end of this call as well. So stay live, stay put. Hey Yasir, all right. So tell me, man, kahan se shuru ki ye kahani? What is inspiring you? What inspires you in the morning? What do you do?
Well, I would start with the same thought which you mentioned, about small businesses. Every big business today was a small business one day. It probably started with, one or two entrepreneurs getting together or having a vision or having an imagination that they wanted to bring to reality. And that is the very reason why, small businesses are close to my heart particularly, and I feel that they're probably close to everyone's heart because they are the ones that drive change. They are the ones that drive the transformation in the entire industry. So our business is a small business today, and there will be businesses that are smaller than ours. Similarly, all the large businesses that are out there today, the Anglo Corporations and the OGDCLs and the Mancha groups and even the Reliance Industries in India, they were all a small business one day. And the people who've gone through the pains of building a small business and having that small idea to actually make it flourish and kind of make it big can associate that if we all as Pakistan spend the right type of focus and energy in terms of nourishing these small businesses, you have the capability and capacity to be creating thousands if not millions of these large corporations later on. Every small telewala has a vision to make it into a store. Every small pan ka khoka has a vision to make that khoka into a supermarket, and every single supermarket has a vision to make that into an Amazon store one day. So our mission, our entire purpose was also driven by and started by the fact that just if you look at Pakistan's retail landscape, there are 700,000 small Karyana and Molle ki dukan shops, and every
Wow.
one of them has a small vision that they want to serve their neighbors. It is not just business. To be honest, these Molle ki dukans are the stores where we all have grown up, spending time in the afternoon and in the evening in terms of our chit chat places where we would get the entire gossip for the entire mohalla, and where a lot of those bonds were actually formed. It's that shopkeeper that has zero ill at heart, who really wants to serve that community and wants to really grow the business. So at the very foundation of Jugnu is basically trying to help every single small business to grow faster than the large businesses, of course, but really helping them and empowering them to achieve their dreams. And a lot of that is to do with how they're able to procure, how they're able to really have credit available to do that. And then the story actually goes back to my and Sharoon's Unilever days, where we both entered as management trainees, and we learned a lot there. But we could appreciate the problems of the industry a lot more before we went on to this journey. So the very foundation, the very fabric of where this entire journey begins is we want to be able to bring about transformation in the entire economy of Pakistan. Add a couple of percentage points in the GDP growth numbers for Pakistan, and there should not be anything shy of a double-digit GDP growth, inshallah, one day. And then that can be really done by addressing the largest segment of the GDP, which happens to be retail trade. A formal sector of about 50 billion, and if you were to add the informal sector, that goes to about 100 billion dollars. So that's where the transformation needs to take place. What we called tijarat, the trade, which was also a profits profession as well.
Yeah, so thank you so much, man. I mean, this is inspiring. When you talk, the spark in your eyes, the shine that is out there, it's so noble. And what you guys have been trying to do for the last many years that I've known you, and in such a stealth mode, and quietly putting your head down and building what you're building, and talk about that in a little bit. This is just awesome. Sharoon, what you said in the video when we started off this talk today, and you said, when I wake up in the morning, I just want to get out of my bed and get to work. This vision is a killer, man. Tell me more about when you wake up in the morning. We'll come back to Jugnu, but I want to talk about what makes you go, what makes you tick in the morning, and what are your mornings like?
So that's a good one, actually. I think one trait that probably Yasir and I both shared, and it's one of the reasons we got along well, even when we were at Unilever, was clearly, I think, I've always been a morning person. I think try to wake up at about 4:30 or 5 a.m. And most of the times I would put on my cycling shorts and cycling jersey and go out for a ride. And usually, unlike a lot of people, I tend to ride alone, because that's the me time that I have in the entire day. And that's when really I'm thinking about what am I going to do today? What are the major challenges that I'm trying to solve at this moment? So my mornings are always, I look up to them. I think I've always looked up to them.
Sharoon, I'm sorry to cut in, but there've been people who've been sending us pictures of what your morning looks like, and you're telling me you're out there cycling and you're out there riding in the morning and you're thinking about work. How does that? How do the two things go together? And if you don't mind, I've got a secret that I'm going to disclose to our public today. This is what Sharoon looks like early morning every day, and this is what,
Yeah,
like
this is
5:30,
Yasir.
6 in the morning.
That's Yasir.
That's Yasir. Okay, so we've been getting, I don't know, some secret pictures have been coming to us all this week. So that's Sharoon. Is that Sharoon? Sharoon, what's up with that bike, man? I mean, and those abs and what's going on? So have you been working out recently?
Yes, I think over the last 6 years, a lot has changed. But one of the things, which has become part and parcel of my life, at least, is having a strong routine of, doing, spending time with my bike. So I tend to do about anywhere between, these days, about 5 to 6 hours a week. So that would be about close to an hour a day. And it really sets me up. And this is one of the times that I cherish in the entire day is the time that I get to spend on the bike, because I get to think a lot during that time period. Even if I've seen some of the most complex business problems, or even any other challenges that I'm facing, while riding the bike, I'm usually able to think through some of the solutions. So this is perhaps a well kept secret, but yes, morning 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. is the most precious time of the day for me.
Well, thank you so much to our secret sharers who've been sending us these pictures, for sharing these backdrops. And for our audience today, if you want to take more pictures and if you want to see more pictures of both of these guys, can we just bring up Yasir's picture one more time? And if you want to take more pictures and see more pictures of how they ride in the morning, these guys do crazy rides, like 70 kilometers a day kind of rides. You can go and look out their profiles on Strava, and these guys are fitness freaks, and they've got. So the reason I really wanted to bring this up today was, there's a routine to success, and it doesn't really happen in coincidence. It's never really a coincidence. There's a method to the madness, and you guys have very strong work ethics, and you have, mashallah, you're up around 5 a.m. Kaam kar rahe hote ho, and then you get to your work. So I just wanted to share that with our audience today. So, Yasir, can you take us a little back before, you just shared with us your vision, but shuru kahan se hue? How did you guys come together? Kahan se mile? Where did you work together? Kahan pe ikathe hue? And then what happened? We have a few more pictures, just so you know. We have a few more pictures that we're going to show.
The cycling pictures are true, but I think Sharoon is way ahead of, in terms of being a great sportsman, as well as running a great company. So I happen to do 1/10 of cycling what Sharoon probably does. But yeah, I think there is a lot that is in common in terms of the way we think, and on the value system particularly. So we happen to work. We met at Unilever. We were, Unilever was kind enough to hire a lot of great people, and a lot of great people get to meet there. So we were solving same problems. We worked in the same teams a couple of times, and our frequencies really aligned on a lot of the problems that we could see and the type of solutions we could think of. The value system was very similar. So while we may have a lot of professional different approaches to solve the same problem, but what we always saw was that the underlying value system was quite similar. So I remember that I had already spent about, I think, 7.5 years in the company, and there was one extremely extensive meeting cycle that we had just gone through, a week of extensive presentations and everything, and I was really exhausted. And I just told Sharoon, I'm going to be taking a leave, about what's your plan. He said, I'm also going to be taking a leave, and let's just do some thinking what to do. And I remember that during that leave period, it was in January 2015. We said, okay, let's just brainstorm some ideas. What else can we do outside of work? And it was, I think, a total of 12-day leave period, during which we, of course, it struck the chord that we got to go and do something outside Unilever. Even if Unilever is faced with a lot of challenges that we struggle to solve, then maybe it's better to go and solve for the industry. And also we also needed a bit more meaning to our own life as well, in terms of having the Maslow's hierarchy, having more self-actualization and all kind of kicking in. So during that leave period, I remember not only did we decide we will be resigning from our jobs when we come back from our leaves, but we also happened to incorporate the company during the same leave period. So we went to the SECP office, Securities and Exchange Commission of Pakistan, and we didn't know how to incorporate a company. We stood in the line. We asked the people how to go about it. They said, there's an online process. The online process was extremely painful. You had to like create some NIFT certificates for which you needed attestation from a 19 grade officer, and I don't know what. But nonetheless, we ended up incorporating the company. We ended up, standing in the FBR queue to get an NTN number issued. We wanted to be a taxpayer from day one, and we went to the bank to get the account, opened and all. So it was all in a belief of something that was to come later on. Just the excitement that we will get to create something. Just the excitement we could go out and do something. We then of course bounce off the idea with our wives, and then the question was clearly that we both had a kid. I had one. I had a son. Sharoon also had a daughter, and our wives of course would say that we expected that they'll say that, how do you plan to raise your children? That given that both your parents really aren't that loaded, and whatever money you have, that's what you have. So what's the game plan? And we stayed them back, and we said, the game plan is that you guys will continue to work. So my wife is working, and Sharoon's wife is working. So they ran the kitchen for the first entire year. We couldn't bring a penny in at home for the first year. So that's how it started, and the thing is that whenever you have a thought that you want to chase, my advice would be, don't do a lot of logical calculations in terms of how it's done. I think always have some trust that there's a supreme being that is also wants that plan to materialize. So be very passionate and very centered on what you want to really achieve. We had a Excel model, which was I would say, which was probably the biggest disaster. I've nothing in that model actually held true. Everything in the model was a fallacy. Everything just fell flat. But there were other avenues that always kicked in, and there will be number of pivots you do on the way. So we kept doing those pivots. But yes, I think it's the first step is the most important step. You got to start taking that step towards where you have that belief, and then everything else starts to make sense later on.
Yasir, when you start talking, man, I want to keep quiet and keep listening to you, and my audience is going to kill me today for saying it again and again. Your passion is just bloody contagious. But and you say it with such a clarity. But hold on to that thought for a minute. I'm going to come back to that. Thodi si baat aapne ki about the wives, supporting you for the first year. I think that support system around any budding entrepreneur, and our purpose today is what I've learned and what the audience is learning from you guys is having that support system around them. So I mean, we do know now that behind every successful man, there's always a woman. So behind two or maybe more people, doing Jugnu, Sales Flow, the companies that you have built already, there are a lot of ladies that have really burnt the midnight oil with you. We'll come back to that again as well. But Sharoon, Yasir, if you can really jump in quickly. Yasir has told us about initial journey ke kahan se Unilever ko resign kiya, and I love it ke jaise aapne bola na Yasir ke we wanted to be taxpayers from day one. That's a burning desire. Yeah. That's really a strong ethical, that speaks of your ethics. Sharoon, can you share with us कि यार शुरू किया कहाँ से फिर? What did you guys actually register क्या कराया? What was the खेल तमाशा?
So it's actually a funny story. I think when we really decided that we are going to try something of our own, and the problem we picked was, again, the theme has been constant in our, I think, professional lives. It was about distribution of goods, of consumer goods, right to the consumers. That's the value chain that we were always chasing. Probably because इसमें हम काम करते रहे थे. So we wanted to get into basically grocery delivery to consumer households. That's how the thought process started. And we registered a company by the name of Retailistan Private Limited, and the name was Yasir's idea. I designed the logo, which was when I look at that logo I get embarrassed, but we did that together. it was just a shopping tag, as simple as that. And हमने उसके letter heads वगैरह भी बनवाए, और क्योंकि वो भी एक SCCP की requirement थी, so we did all of that stuff. And I still remember ke tab Ramzan was about to approach, and we thought ke yaar, okay, let's create something called Ramzan hampers banate hain, and we would put them on the website, and we'll ask people to and we'll advertise it on social media and ask people to buy. And I still remember initially, we would either be packing all the Ramzan hampers, procuring different goods from different places in the market and putting them together. मैं खुद packing कर रहा होता था, Yasir packing कर रहा होता था. We would make our guards do that. And वो करते करते when we started off, so this is what initially began. And I think जो यासिर बात कर रहा था अभी के, when you look at the Excel model that you have built, you recognize कि यार ये Excel model की every single assumption is being challenged by a 2x magnitude on every single day. And that's when we really got together and thought yaar, okay, who are we as a set of people, and what are the challenges that are there in the industry, and how can we solve them? Now this is an embarrassing picture. I perhaps weigh probably
Are
about
you dancing
30,
out here,
30
man?
kilos.
What exactly is that?
No, I'm not dancing. I'm actually trying to cut tape and put them on one of those boxes. So
okay,
वो सारी
What's in the
assumptions
boxes?
जो हमने बनाई थी.
Hold on.
So
Tell me more about this picture. Hold on. Tell me more about. We'll get to the assumptions. What are you doing in this picture? Tape काट के क्या करने वाले हो?
यार मैं आपको बताता हूँ, अगर आप पीछे इस पिक्चर में देखेंगे ना, so you would see there are some आटे की बोरियां at the back. So there was आटा and दाल चना and besan and जामे शीरी that would go into one of these boxes, and we would advertise these boxes, and then we would start delivering these boxes to consumer households. And हमने अपना fence जो था वो उस वक्त in our naivety we opened entire Karachi to deliver this, and we would get orders from all over Karachi. एंड यासिर के पास एक गाड़ी होती थी, मेरे पास एक गाड़ी होती थी, और हम उन्हीं में रखते थे ये सामान और खुद ही जाके डिलीवरी शुरू कर देते थे. बिकॉज वी आर टॉकिंग 2015 here, there was hardly anything when it comes to the logistics space. And it was just it taught us so much. Probably हमने जो सोचा था कि यार इतना हमें कैपिटल चाहिए होगा, we realized we would burn every single penny of our saving in the next maybe 2 months. And how do we sustain this? And then that's how the entire questions of pivoting and all this started to happen. Yaar hum kya kar sakte hain with our whatever experience we have had, whatever, both of us happen to be engineers by education. Yaar, how do we bring technology into this entire mix and start solving problems at scale rather than just relying on our own 2 cars and our own little packing capacity?
Okay, that's a great one. So Sharoon, that experience must have left you with a lot of learnings, right? So I mean, there's no shame in saying कि यार it didn't work and we pivoted to something different. So what was the next step then? Retailistan, trying to deliver grocery in Karachi. There are more secrets that I have, deep and dark ones, about some of the cars that you had to sell off, but I'm not going to go into that. We're already at the 30 minutes clock, and we've got a lot to talk about today. For our audience, I mean, some of the really great questions are coming in, guys. Since Yasir and Sharoon, you can't see those questions. To my audience, I can tell you we're going to address all of those questions. Hang on to this, and then we've got an amazing video to show you towards the end of it. That's a surprise today for you. Sharoon, thoda sa mere se talk to me about you couldn't make it on the grocery delivery, the consumer grocery delivery. You decided to do what then? I know digitization was your next part. So Retailistan ke baad kya aaya phir? And talk about a little about that.
So we realized that let's say the experience that we had built, or the knowledge base that we had when it came to really the retail sales and distribution, we really started to think of yaar kaun se technology solutions hain jo hum bana sakte hain which can go out and scale in the market. But इससे पहले, to be able to build those technology solutions, ये बड़ा जरूरी था कि we needed to get a team of let's say engineers who could start helping us build any product that we wanted to build. So Yasir और मैं, we went to a couple of customers, and we asked them, okay, we can help with your retail and distribution strategy, and what we can do together. And I still remember one of our initial first customers, Halal Foods, gave us a little consultancy assignment whereby we started to help them on one business challenge that they were faced with at that time. And whatever consultancy money that started to come in, we started to route it completely to setting up a software engineer team, जिसके साथ हमने decide ये किया कि we will start building a sales and distribution platform that starts to automate the entire information value chain from distributors to the retailers. जितनी भी transactions हो रही हैं, हम उनको on board कैसे लाना शुरू करेंगे onto how do we start documenting them so that we can start gaining insights out of them for these manufacturers. और initially हमारी वो हम दोनों मेहनत करते थे, consultancy assignments करते थे, we would get to hire more and more teams and start building the software product, which became later on Salesflow. And I think you have been a customer of Salesflow as well, so you recognize what it does for the industry, and that's how it really started, to be honest.
Well, that's just inspiring, Sharoon. So, Yasir, was it just the two of you doing this? Yeah, did you bring in more co-founders with you? Talk to us about your co-founders, about the team that you were building. The challenges must have been growing. I mean, कहने में it takes like less than 60 seconds to explain it, but this was a journey. There's a lot of blood and sweat, I suppose. So, help us understand. Other than the women in your life, what about the team in your life? What about do you have more people, more partners with you?
So I can just say that, everything, 100%, everything is all about talent. It's all about people. And it starts with Hina and Kanza, my wife and Sharoon's wife, that there was also people helping out in terms of building the venture. They have an equal credit to this. But at the same time, in terms of our co-founders, we realized from time to time that the two of us will not be enough to take this forward. We saw that while the gaps in terms of talent from engineering can still be filled in terms of hiring new talent from top universities and all, but when we wanted to really consult someone and when we wanted to really be able to divide, it was just the two of us, and we could not find enough senior leadership to tilt on to be able to take it through. And so we actually went back in a lot of cases. In one case, we went back to one of our customers. One of our there was someone who we loved from our customer who would in fact be inspiring us, and we said, okay, why not pull him on? So Khurram was working at Engro Foods at the time. Previously, he had worked with Nestle, and he had a lot of experience around retail distribution and modern trade and all. So we both went up to him and we said, why don't you just come and join us? I'm sure you don't love your 9-to-5 job, which we knew that everyone who's carrying a 9-to-5 job probably would like it, but he was kind enough to really consider this, and Khurram basically hopped on without us noticing, and he helped build one of the largest retail BPO organizations, and then he built an entire unit in the organization. Today, he leads quite a significant area of business, and it continues to be able to drive growth for us. We also reached out to one of our friend and colleague at Unilever, SN, who also we both had worked in SN's team as well. So he was at Unilever. He had given 15 years to Unilever. He was based in Singapore, and we also saw that a lot of traction was starting to come in for our platform in Pakistan. So we said, how can we really bring in more people who can help us accelerate that outside Pakistan? So SN was also very kind enough. He also jumped in, and that's how the two of us became four. And we've been very very liberal and very open to make sure that we continue to grow more and more founders and partners. And we really believe that until and unless you do not have a kick-ass team, a kick-ass set of founders who believe in the long-term vision, you really cannot drive it. End of the day, the life of the institution, the life of the organization that you're building will always and always be much, much larger than, or probably infinite compared to the finite lives that we will be living. So how do we really bring those institutions? So from a talent point of view, SN and Khurram really came in to have a lot more of horizontal bandwidth available for us to be able to take on more challenges.
Yasir, did Khurram and SN also join the morning club with you guys? Were they also bikers with you? We're getting some amazing comments coming in about your biking stories, and one of our very honorable, he's been a guest with us as well, Zain Jawanji. He's sending us messages about the 4 a.m. club. So were Khurram and SN also part of those? Is that kind of the culture that you built into your company?
Yeah.
Is that a
I think
ethic thing?
I think it's probably Essen I know for a fact is an early riser and a runner. Khurram likes to ride horses. He also wakes up 5 a.m. So yes, all of us belong to the 4-5 a.m. club for sure.
That's a common thing amongst all of us, that we happen
Yeah.
to be all early risers. And I think the three of us who were based in Pakistan, so myself, Sharoon, and Khurram, would also do a lot of cycling together at times. When we started off, then Sharoon, of course, became a pro at it. He, would be competing in the Pakistan nationals and all. So we couldn't keep up with him. But nonetheless, early morning, I would say, is the best time for a number of reasons. That's your time, because you're not taking away that time from your family either, because they're all sleeping anyways.
Yeah.
So in the evening when you try to give yourself me time, you get a guilt feeling that, okay, the kids want time, and you have to give time to family as well. But the morning time is completely yours. None of your kids are up at that time. Your wife is probably sleeping as well. And you just get to do your thinking, do your planning, enjoy your own passion. And 8 a.m. basically, that's
Well,
the
we know
time when
Sharoon's
the
wife
rest
is
of the
not
world opens up.
is not sleeping at that time. I think we all know she's a rider as well with him. But getting into more about the business part now, guys. So tell us what you're actually building. Let's talk a bit about Jugnu. So you do your morning rides, you get to work, and it's a firefighting thing. What you're doing, it's a really big operation that you're putting together right now. So talk to us about how you're building the team that's building Jugnu. Is that a challenge for you in Pakistan? Finding talent? Tell us some of your top 3 challenges.
So, when we started, so we pivoted the model once on the Jugnu front, and we initially thought that we will have to bring in a lot of senior talent without really getting 7-figure people into the company. We will not be able to do anything and all. So we changed that thinking very early on, where we have one of probably the best graduate trainee programs in the industry, from at least from a startup point of view, and we've successfully competed with companies like Unilever, P&G, and Nestle, and everyone on talent. So when we bring in someone into the graduate training program, so the last year, when in the center of COVID, companies were scrapping off their hiring plans. We hired 10 graduate trainees from GIK, LUMS, IBA, Habib University, and so on. And it's open to all universities. It's not restricted. But we brought in 10 people there, and we did not put them into internship roles. They were thrown into the mainstream in terms of leading fulfillment teams, leading your warehousing management, leading and creating new processes. So there was a lot of create job that was being done at the same time. The type of exposure they got, the type of learning they got, is unparalleled to what they were able to create. So, and then this year again, we're going to be adding about 30 more graduate trainees into the program. That's become our biggest source of talent, and the type of creativity and the type of empowerment you see from them, it is really unparalleled to what you can be doing with from any experienced talent. Not that experienced talent is not important. We're also actively engaging and bringing them on board, but there's a lot that fresh graduates can also do.
So Yasir, what are you building with that talent? I mean, share with us what your vision is, and what is this founding team doing right now? We understand you're digitizing the retail industry. We understand you're trying to become the B2B go-to for Pakistan. There are other players in this industry. There's this competition. They might not be on the similar path. Your competition might be somebody who's not even in the industry right now. And I love how you talked about starting off your conversation today about Engros and Manshas and Reliance in India. And you don't seem to be bothered. I don't see if you're really bothered about others doing the B2B industry in Pakistan. That doesn't bother you, man? So two questions.
First of all,
what are you doing with this founding team? And then what do you think of the competition? And share with us more about that.
So first of all, the industry is quite big. So what we're really up to is that, as I mentioned, this $300 billion out of Pakistan's GDP. $100 billion is more or less around retail trade and logistics and everything. So what we really see is that if we really crack this right, the retail sector, the retail industry, which involves all forms of trade, you could be selling and buying anything. If done right, you are actually empowering millions of small businesses to be able to operate at 150 or 200% of their current capacity. What that means is that you're essentially being able to transform the entire retail landscape of Pakistan. Every single small and medium business is able to do more because either they did not have the product that was required by their customers, so they can start stocking that product again, which will increase the overall sales. Which also at the same time in the value chain, when a retailer starts stocking up on something which they were not able to stock up earlier, either because of working capital or because of lack of access, by stocking that product, they're also making that manufacturer at the back more efficient and more viable. So the small and medium enterprises working behind these guys will also start, functioning at a better efficiency. So by solving for this entire inefficiency in the value chain, this entire flow of goods from either import or manufacturing to wholesale or retail, and then eventually to the consumer or to the other businesses, this chain is really inefficient right now. And this is what we really picked up, what we initially digitized using the sales flow platform, where we have been able to record about $2 billion worth of transactions on this platform. So roughly 4% of the total retail industry of Pakistan gets documented on that, onto that platform. Now through Jugnu, what we started to do was, we said, okay, if we can improve the information supply chain, the financial supply chain, and the physical supply chain equation in this, and do it at scale that can impact each and every small business, you've essentially cracked the model of really empowering each and every small and medium business to start growing ahead of what they were previously doing. These can be manufacturers, these could be sellers, these could be retailers. It starts to transform the entire industry, and these are the problems that we are solving through the talent that we are bringing in. And it goes down in every domain of expertise, be it logistics, be it finance, be it warehousing, be it product technology, artificial intelligence. We're doing the entire spectrum.
Yeah, so that's just purely amazing, man. And we'll talk more about that as well. To our audience, and we've got a really huge audience today. This is surprising, but and some amazing questions coming in. Can I just remind you all to keep sharing your questions in the comment section, and we'll get to those questions in the last half of this conversation. So if you have a question that you think you really want to understand about the retail industry, you want to understand about Jugnu, you want to understand about the morning rides, if there's a question that you feel you want to ask and poke Yasir and Sharoon about, please do share those with us in the social media handles. Sharoon, coming to your part, so share with us, this value chain is very, Yasir has talked about the entire value chain. I understand the food industry a little bit. What do you think is the most broken part? And if I were to say, I'm going to hand you a magic wand, what would be the first three things you want to think that let's solve this? Because that's going to define for other people in this industry, retail industry, कि यार ये तीनों बिल्कुल broken है. I mean, what's your secret recipe? What's your secret learning? कि यार, here's the magic wand. Let's first solve these three problems.
I think one of the key things that I've learned, having managed, sales flow and now, Jugnu as well, that, you never really know the secret sauce. It's a collection of, small decisions that enable you to unleash the secret sauce that becomes your business success story. That's been my learning at Salesflow. So we are still in the process of actually figuring it out, I would say, when it comes to Jugnu. But for sure, I think the most crucial challenge that this industry faces today, I feel are two. One, 12 out of 18 retailers in our country, and countries with similar demographics of fragmented trade, do not get served by any manufacturer directly. So they have to rely on some indirect manner to get access to goods. The goods they get may at times not even be original. So there is a lot of counterfeit as well that goes out in the market. And all that, what it does is it takes away the right of a consumer to be able to access quality products in the value chain. Manufacturers lose out this way. The retailers lose out this way, and the consumer also loses out this way. And at Jugnu, to be honest, our core mission is to basically, fundamentally, change this value chain, whereby you are able to take more products by more manufacturers to more retailers and to more consumers. How we are going to do that? I think, you know a much more agile supply chain, to reach, to take these products to as many retail stores as possible, and to also empower the retailers with having the right kind of tools, the ability to order when they want to, the ability to have access to working capital when they need it, when they can sell something. So it's really about activating this entire value chain to hamare samne hai. अब इस value chain को आपने activate कैसे करना है? What will be the key levers of activating this value chain is what we and the entire team at Jugnu continues to work on day in day out. And we believe in this process. Okay, tomorrow has to be better than today, and infinite loop. And how do you keep this loop going? And it's always a sequence of small actions and small steps that you take on everyday basis, that really can start changing this industry. So for now, I think hum clearly bade focused hai of how can we optimize this value chain, jiske andar aaj, if there is a retailer anywhere in Pakistan and he wants to get access to a certain product, how do we ensure that Jugnu is at his doorstep delivering that product? That's something that we are clearly obsessed with these days.
Thank you so much, Sharoon. This is really inspiring, and I mean, I've had the pleasure of meeting your team, your partners, your vendors, your suppliers, and I think this is not just the two of you. Your entire founding team, the interns, the entire program that you're running with your cohort, with your new team members. I think that value chain and that culture I could see coming in from everybody. They are all on to something. They all know what they're building. And you're changing the landscape for the Pakistan's retail industry, and not just retail, you're changing it for the entire industry of Pakistan. And I love it how Yasir put it, that he's going to notch it up a few points on the GDP. And that's a mission and that's a vision worth waking up every morning. That's just amazing. To our audience again, please keep those questions coming in. We're going to get to those questions really quickly. I'm going to share my learnings as well in a minute or so. But before I do that, guys, my last question, which is my last question, and then we get to the audience questions, is where do you see Jugnu? We've not really talked about your competition, and every time I've done that in a private capacity as well, I understand that you're never really bothered about what your competition is doing. You're always bothered about what you're doing. But if I were to ask you 5 years from now, what do you think you're going to be doing, and where do you think Jugnu is going to be? What the retail landscape is going to look like? Yasir?
Well, I see a lot of prosperity. I see that we have uh, businesses and people personally as well who would be able to look back and say that yes, our businesses were transformed. We're doing more business. We've also created more livelihoods because of the type of services that Jugnu was able to deliver to them. And it goes a long way. So when you're talking about empowering a million businesses, it means that you are not only just helping them fulfill, but you even at times maybe give them trainings, for example, that how do you excel your own business at scale? Do you have a learning academy, for example, of retailers learning how to do their businesses? Every pan ka khoka being converted into a Karyana store, and the Karyana store being converted into a supermarket, and the supermarket being converted into a online store. How do you really transform this entire landscape, giving them access to capital, allowing them to self merchandise, take pictures of their store, and being able to submit it to the brands for them to start scoring them, and knowing that this is 1/3 of the Pakistan's economy. So you got to be transforming that. So when we accelerate 5 years ahead, I would want to see Jugnu having made those percentage improvements in GDP, being able to have number of businesses really coming back and saying that yes, this organization has significantly added value for all of us over here. I wouldn't want the way the retailer is currently told that, if you want this product, you can only order it on Monday, and if you want that product, you can only order it on Wednesday. So if I was to tell you, Shoaib, that if you want milk, sorry, you can't order milk on Tuesday, neither on Wednesday. You can only order milk on Monday. How would you feel about it? That's how the current retailers and the Karyana stores and everyone feels, that the brands and the manufacturers do not allow them to order on the days that they're not allowed to order. They can only order once in a week or once in a fortnight. That's criminal from today's technology zone point of view. Everyone should be empowered to be able to keep whatever they want to keep in whatever quantity they want to keep. They should be allowed to keep 1 unit of something if they want to keep 1 unit of something, and not be forced to buy 12 units of something. So it's those small businesses being able to then grow and flourish and create those livelihoods around them.
Wow, that's super powerful, Yasir. That's super, super powerful. I'm going to steal 1 more minute from the Q&A section because I've got one last question again. So it's going to be my last question. So Yasir, can you really quickly explain to us, or maybe Sharoon, if you want to do that, where is Jugnu right now? We've talked about where you were, where you will be. Where is Jugnu right now, and what can I do with your app? I mean, can I order it for my home as well? Can I order it? Do I have to be a retailer only? And what's your delivery mechanism? How many brands have you onboarded? How many SKUs do you have? What's your quantum right now? What are your markets? And really quickly in the next 60 seconds, if you can tell me, what are your next 3 months to 6 months plans? And then I promise my audience, we're going to move to your questions and the surprise that we talked about towards the end of the call. Sharoon.
Yep. So if you are any retailer today based in Lahore, you can pick up our application, and you would have close to about 12 to 1300 SKUs that you can place an order on, and we would be delivering that SKU or the whatever products that you have ordered to you within the next 24 hours. And we would want to deliver you 100% on time in full service level. That's what we are capable of today. I think we will be in a lot more cities in the coming few months, and that's our aim. And hopefully, we would have anything and everything that you as a retailer want. It would be with you. And like Yasir said, you would never have to think about that. I can only order X product on a Monday or a Tuesday. You can get any product you want in any quantity you want any day of the week. Just pick up the Jugnu application and place an order to us.
All right. Well, thank you, Yasir. Thank you, Sharoon. We're going to move on to our audience Q&A section now. But before we do that, really quickly, I wanted to share what my learnings are today. Like I promised our audience in the beginning that this is about what I've learned today. So guys, what I've learned today is that there are 700,000 Karyana stores out there, and they have a vision to grow. And those are business owners जो कि ठेले वाले से लेके kebab वाले से लेके, it's a small guy who's got dreams and who's got a family and they want to grow. And are they not mini entrepreneurs? Yes, every one of them is, and they've got a vision to grow. And companies like Jugnu are helping them achieve that. Well, what else have I learned? Well, I've learned that Jugnu is out to transform the economy of Pakistan. I absolutely blindly believe that. It's a $50 billion economy in the retail sector. And I think there's room for enough companies to try and take a hack at it and make this inefficient value system much more efficient. What else have I learned today? So how many of you remember what the count was that Sharoon gave? So he said 12 out of 18 retailers do not get any manufacturers to serve them. So that's a good stat for me to remember. And now I'm slightly more wiser than I was about an hour ago. So thank you guys. You've been great at giving me my learnings. I'm going to open up the Q&A section. We've got a few questions coming in, and then the surprise last 3 minutes that we're going to share a special video with our audience today. One of the guys has asked me in a private chat is, what do you guys think you are, a retail company or a technology company? So define yourself. Are you a retail company or you're a technology company, guys?
So Sharoon,
all right.
Jugnu is a retail company. It's actually a route to market company, if you ask me. So we are not selling directly to consumers. We're going to be empowering businesses but we are a more of a logistics than technology. We are a more of a demand aggregation than technology. Technology happens to be the biggest enabler, and technology
So,
has to be the biggest
you
enabler
know,
for every single business.
yeah, the answer I always give to this question, is we are a technology enabled execution business. That's who we are.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. We've got loads of questions, so I'm going to ask you to keep your questions really brief because we do want to share a video at the end as well. So this is a question that came in really early on from Zain Jawanji, and I'm going to bring it up on screen. And the question is, guys, every unicorn was a small business one day, and in fact, it was just an idea in someone's head. Yasir, so this question is for you. What motivates now that you've arrived on the scene? Is it innovation? Is it money? Or is it just doing good, making an impact? So pick one really quickly, both of you.
Innovation. So
I
one
think
sec three, innovation and doing good.
yeah, we were just on a call before this one, and this question was the point blank question that was being probed to us. I think one thing that I can confidently say about both Yasir and myself and our other co-founders as well, money has never really been an inspiration, and I think doing something which is impactful, something innovative that we do that creates an impact, that is clearly what drives us.
Well, thank you so much, guys. Money is always a byproduct. I think it's always, it just comes around, and everybody's going to get their share. But I think it's the passion that drives you and that makes you wake up in the morning and achieve what you want to. So, guys, really quickly, I want to bring this question up, but let me just rephrase it in a different way. What do you think is your value proposition against the likes of all your competition? I'm not going to talk about any one, but against the value, against the likes of all your competitions out there.
I think everyone's doing a great job. They're doing a great service to the entire industry. They're doing a great service to the entire set of small businesses. And there is a lot more we can collaborate on than to compete on, to be honest. The market is huge. And the transformation that is happening, we all combinedly haven't even transformed 1% of the industry yet. So what do we need to, so the value proposition
What do we
is very clear. It's about empowering small businesses, and we haven't even been able to do justice in terms of just not even just covering 1% of the market yet.
Okay, we're really short on time, so I'm not going to take a lot of more questions, but this one question has had me thinking. So guys, really quickly, in less than 10 seconds each, what do you think is the biggest challenge? We've discussed a lot of challenges in the retail industry right now. If you had to pick one, just one challenge each, I don't want to leave this question out. So one challenge each, and then I'm going to try and conclude this session today. Yasir?
Okay, this is a difficult one, but yeah, if you ask me enough, I would say the number one challenge for not only retail but overall Pakistan and overall for everyone is basically talent.
Talent. Yeah.
Okay.
There are a lot of problems to be solved.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for answering all of those questions, for doing this, for agreeing to do this session with us today. I really quickly want to thank Daftarkhwan once again for providing us this platform, not just virtually, but all across Lahore, Islamabad, in their physical spaces, coming soon to more cities, and really opening up their sixth location, which is going to be in Lahore. I'm really grateful to Saad Adris and Ahmed Habib for taking Daftarkhwan fireside chats. Sania today for helping us organize all of this. You've been just awesome, Sania, for doing all of the backdrop that you do. To our audience, don't leave yet. We've got the surprise coming up. Guys, what you actually did today was inspire an entire generation of youngsters who were inspiring or who are aspiring to become entrepreneurs or do something. And I think entrepreneurship is the cool word these days. But it's not just about being an entrepreneur. You can support an entrepreneur as well. You can be part of the founding team. If you really want to become an entrepreneur, become a part of of somebody else's journey, and you learn what you need to do in your own path as well. So I'm really glad and I'm thankful to Yasir and Sharoon for sharing with us your journey today. And I want to be doing this talk with you again in 5 years' time, Yasir, and relive all of the memories that we're going to make collectively together. What you've done today is actually inspired me to be a part of what you're doing, man. It's an absolute dream what you're walking on, and I'm going to leave our audience today, like we promised, with a video that's going to share with them what Jugnu is all about and what the people behind Jugnu are doing. And like Yasir and Sharoon have mentioned it, that the biggest challenge is talent. So what I think you're doing amazing, besides building a great company, a great business, and possibly a unicorn of Pakistan one day, is inspiring youngsters to come up and do amazing stuff. So I want to once again thank Daftarkhwan. I want to thank Jugnu, Yasir, Sharoon, and the entire team that's brought this episode to us. And I'm going to leave you all, our audience today, with a video that I promised at the very start. It's a surprise, and I think it's going to inspire so many of the young entrepreneurs to come join hands with Jugnu and make this dream come true. Thank you, everyone. Signing off today from Daftarkhan's Fireside Chat. This is Shoaib Malik. I'm a partner at Walled City Co. And looking forward to our next session, hopefully bringing you something more exciting. Have a great one.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.